Nathur Shil Yachad Nuabakedi Waloi Ma'orwo, the pledge of the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors. Ama Kakdemu Sefunut Hade Gedash Manuf, as I stand beneath our sacred and holy flag. Kanderu Ruki Maul Ke Kehikano, Ama Kashgeru Zitaur, I vow to be loyal, obedient as I watch it fly. Ru Ganunwu Shil Manut Naonut, Faref Nawus Weloinut, to the laws of our Constitution that govern our nations. Ru Hare Sabu Kahmelu Tubusumhem, to this cause I hold my head up high. Akara Garur Kantero Ruharus Hade Tahum, with pride I pledge to protect and defend. Kalu Akara Hare Walao Weloi Kalu Hanuf Hade Samur, all within this great nation, both family and friend. Ru Yankud Faref Karetkut Mu Adorhut Agoyu, to ensure all has their equal rights. Ruhare Sabu Kazorgedu Adnahum, to this cause I will lay down my very life. Ama Kapdemu Tachuth Hare San Un Hade Gedash Kanun, as I stand beneath this sacred and holy seal. Kanderu Nafusum Mewa Chelas Hade Kazutmenu Yat Menwikanu Akara Khera, I vow myself loyal, sincere, and vow integrity with zeal.
So sitting next to you, or sitting behind you, or front, so sitting next to you might be sitting next to Black Devil.
It states in Psalms chapter 82, verse 6, I have sent ye of God, and all of you are children of the Most High.
This is the Elder Raziel with a message for the children of the Elohim. I walked a long journey on the short path, grafted this non-mind, this mind expands math itself. Came through with the master teacher. Get wealth for what I have to teach you. Not a preacher, the Anunnaki created this creature, fully packed with features. Nuwabu knocking off leeches. Peace to Malachi, Ziyor, Noble Drew Ali, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, respect and pay homage. From the Anu tribe, we hope to see you. We still kicking the flows, all the girls know. Just list the show so your mind grows toward a genetic explosion. X out whoever was chosen by deception to sell out Negro, the greatest destruction. Without question, knowledge is a weapon. Like Cain, ain't no half-stepping to a greater direction. This is Right Knowledge Radio with your man Mudhuta Herukayu. That's right. It's a beautiful November 24th, 2022. And it's also the Nuwabic time of year 82, the 5th month of Tefnut, first week, 4th day, Tashun Inti. So that's our day today. And there's a couple of issues going around lately about, Kyrie Irving and Dave Chappelle even now. And hold on, let me get my screen to show up. But yeah, we're going to talk about these issues that apparently the SPLC, known as the Southern Poverty Law Center, apparently is a hate group in itself. Now, I don't want to sound like some kind of guy who doesn't like Jews or something like that. That's definitely not what I'm saying. What I'm saying here is you can't fight hate with hate. That's what I am saying, no matter who's doing it. You know what I mean? Now, for me, there are some things you should hate. You should hate discrimination. You should not like it. At least not like it. Don't accept this. Don't accept that. You know what I mean? Especially by foreign colonists here on Turtle Island. You know, so anyway, I found a couple of things, but we're not gonna jump into this the anti-hate group that is a hate group. We're gonna jump into Kyrie. You know, brother Kyrie here is you know, he's backtracking, y'all. He's backtracking. I'm a little disappointed. Not a little disappointed. I'm a lot disappointed in the brother. Now, you know, Stephen Coakley talked about the Jews publicly condemning people. You know, shaming you. Basically, they're shaming Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie's got to roll with it because that's his job. He's an employee, right? And we all know employee is basically a code word for slave labor, indentured labor. You're getting paid, but you have no power. Your employer has the power. Actually, the employer creates your position. Like you hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I lost my job." No, no, you didn't lose your job. They took their job back, and you're no longer fulfilling that position. An employee doesn't own the job. If you're a contractor, you own the job. That means you could say, "Hey, this is when I come into work. This is when I stop. And I'll see you guys the next day." I have control over what I do in the contract. If you're a contractor, right? That's at least this is what the IRS says. If you're a contractor, you have the ability to negotiate the power of your schedule. If you're an employee, you can't do nothing. You're a slave. Well, you're not a slave, you're an indentured servant. You are getting paid. Like Kyrie Irving's not financially broke, he's just spiritually and mentally broke. Right? He had a moment of manhood where he came out, and said this Hebrew to Negroes movie really captivated him. And then since he's some type of public figure, the Jews and the Zionists pretty much chopped him down. I mean, they pretty much these people. I mean, this is hatred in itself by Jews. So in the anti-Semitism, that doesn't even make sense because Shem was a Moor, and all of these Jews are Caucasians, Ashkenazi. So that the words that they speak don't make sense. But Yeshua said, you are of the devil. You're a murderer just like your father, the devil, in John 8:44. So let's move on here. Oh, well, actually, no, let's read the article. I'm sorry. So this is from Yahoo Sports. And the article is Nets Kyrie Irving given stipulations he must complete before returning to team. Now, this is the protocol that the Jews use to condemn. See, it don't work against like Ku Klux Klan because Ku Klux Klan, they get it. And when I say they get it, they're not gonna bow down to any Jewish demands. That's not. They rather kill themselves, right? Well, they live the way they live. They like the way they live, and I'm not saying hatred is correct, but if you're the devil, hatred goes right along with your personality. Uh, what I'm saying, they get it. They have their own finances, so Kyrie Irving can't turn to his community for his own finances, right? So let's read this. Here's a picture of Brother Kyrie right here. Before being able to return to the team after getting suspended for sharing a link to a movie with anti-Semitic rhetoric on social media, the Nets have given Kyrie Irving 6 stipulations he must complete. Now, this article is not written by a person with our mentality, right? And like I already told you, Shem, which is where they're getting this erroneous word from, anti-Semitic, was a Moor. So how is Kyrie Irving, who's a Moor, anti-Semitic toward himself? I mean, there are some self-hating Negroes, but this to me doesn't make sense. He would have to the thing is, you have to get these people in the public. You have to get these people who hide in the office. And I'm gonna say these Jewish people who hide in the office, who are making demands like this. Get them out in the public. Let's debate. Let's debate. Let's debate the facts, right? Let's get out in the public and that's what they never want to do. I've never really seen them get out in the public and debate the facts. And until they do that, I really don't respect it. I don't respect what these Zionists, I'm sorry, when I say Jews, I'm saying Zionists, the ones who are, and some Jews, you hear them commenting, you know, saying this movie is anti-Semitic. Well, them too. Then I have to say Jews. Then I take that back. I renege my statement. I mean Jews. Some Jews, the ones that feel racist. You know who you are. I know I'm getting deep inside your psyche, but the ones who are racist, the ones that say racist things toward Moors or melanated peoples. Those are the ones I'm talking to, the racist ones. Now, there's some cool Jewish people, so I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the racist ones. And yes, I've heard Jewish people say nigger, and so so you're not getting any sympathy from me on that. You know what I mean? That's like I said, you can't fight hate with hate. That don't make sense. But I guess if you're Caucasian, it does make sense. Okay, so first reported by the Athletic Shams Chanrania, the 6 items include apologize and condemn the movie. Second, $500,000 donation to anti-hate causes. Sensitivity training. 4, anti-Semitic training. 5, meet with ADL, who's a Jewish racist group, and Jewish, I guess, racist leaders. I'm putting racist in there, but it says meet with ADL and Jewish leaders. So they basically want to program his mind. And so I don't think Kyrie Irving is really a businessman. I don't know how good he manages his finances. I'm not sure if he's a Kanye type, because Kanye could walk away and start doing his own businesses. I don't think Kyrie Irving can do that. So he's going to have to meet all, like a good employee slave, he's going to have to meet all these stipulations, which is embarrassing. That's embarrassing, man. That's embarrassing, man. Look at what they're doing I don't even know if you can really call him a man if he does all this. Because I wouldn't do it. No, no, sir. I would not do none of this. I wouldn't do one thing on this list. But that's me. You know what I mean? That's me. Since he's in this, black people should own basketball leagues. Or more should own basketball leagues. And then you wouldn't have to do this. Because they tried to come after the Nation of Islam. Nation of Islam, I think Farrakhan might have bowed down to the Jews. He might have. I know in the beginning he didn't. He might not have. Don't let me put words in Farrakhan's mouth. But anyway, they can't stop the Nation of Islam from talking about Jews. If they did wrong, speak about it. If anybody does wrong, speak about it. Because to solve this problem, both sides are going to have to come together to the table and talk. But back to the NOI, they can't get them to stop talking about Jews because they don't control their finances. Think about it. They do not control the Nation of Islam's finances, so they can say whatever they want about Jews. Kyrie Irving can't even put a link to a video. That's how much they got him under lock, like a slave. Like a slave. Just like the Clippers, right? When the Jewish guy started talking about, the Jewish guy was dating a Morena and started talking about Morenos in front of the Morena on some racist stuff. And she taped it, right? She recorded it. They don't respect you, homie. They don't respect you. They didn't even respect LeBron on Cleveland. I mean, when he left Cleveland back in the day. Plus, I don't like LeBron James, period. I think he's a sellout. But he was a slave. They're all slaves. They're just slaves with money. You know, because if a man can't say what he wants to say in his heart, I don't care if they're paying you $2 quadrillion. As you seen, Kyrie Irving is a millionaire, but they're treating him like he ain't worth $5. They're treating him like he ain't worth nothing. So this is embarrassing. So, and I heard they didn't even take his $500,000 until he did something else. So let's keep reading. According to the SNY NBA insider Ian Begley, Irving issued an apology via social media, but must do so verbally. This is embarrassing. Irving pledged $500,000 to the Anti-Defamation League earlier this week, but as of Friday night, the ADL will not accept Irving's money unless they believe his commitment is genuine. Okay? This is embarrassing, man. I feel sorry for the brother because they just took his manhood. Look at he bowing down. This is embarrassing. I can't back his decision to bow down like this. I could never back a man. It don't matter what race, ethnicity, tribe, whether you're Hebrew to Negro, it don't even matter. None of that matters. All that matters is your human rights as a man. And they basically took his human rights as a man. I mean, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing for Kyrie, man. I feel sorry for the dude, but I can't respect this. Right? I just can't respect this. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. This is why I can't work for nobody. You know what I'm saying? I was an IT engineer for about 13 years, and they were starting to treat not this badly. They didn't treat me this badly. This is pretty bad. They took his whole manhood from him. They would, they punked me too. These big corporations like HP. Thank you, baby. Like HP, the Indian company Infosys tried to treat me like I was an immigrant. You know what I mean? And I was earning good money. I was earning over six figures, but I had no control. I had no power. No control, no power. I had no say in anything. They could lie to me and do whatever and fire me if I didn't believe their lie. You know what I mean? Or if someone couldn't get control of me, like at what was that company I worked at in Irvine, California? I can't think of it now. Oh, QSI. QSI. I worked for QSI. I was a network administrator, Cisco routers, firewalls, Dell Compellent, Dell, Equalogics. I did all that stuff, storage management. And one of the managers was Persian. His name was Nima Buraman. Nima Buraman. And he was gay. And he liked this Asian guy who was the senior project manager, right? The senior project manager. And he kind of grew up in the same area that I did. He grew up in Hacienda Heights, Rolling Heights. I grew up in Walnut. And so we were kind of talking about, places. I used to go in his office all the time because we had projects to do, right? We had to coordinate people and resources and meet milestones and fulfill the goals that we had as our department. And he didn't like me going in there. This guy was jealous. I was in there talking. I won't put his name out there, but Nima was in there. When Nima was in the HR office complaining about me going into Kevin's office, I guess I'll say the name Kevin. I won't say his last name. But I refused not to go into Kevin's office because we had work to do, and I ended up getting let go. So I kind of know what Brother Kyrie is going through, and that's not at one job, that's at multiple jobs. You get let go for political reasons, and that, to me, that was a political reason on some gay stuff. And I'm not even gay, neither was Kevin. Neither the dude that he liked wasn't even gay, so he had no chance of getting with Kevin. Kevin was married with 2 children. You know what I'm saying? And it's we're living in weird times, times of the devil. We're living in times of the devil. So, unfortunately, Kyrie Irving,
hopefully he can return back to manhood after this, because I really don't watch basketball anyway. I think it's a slave game, bunch of slave guys playing slave ball. And it's just a distraction to keep people distracted from the real issues that are going on in life. So I guess salute to the new plantation, the basketball court, where you have no freedom. You can't say what you want to say. You are a slave that just happens to get a salary because of the 13th Amendment. But otherwise than that, you're seen as basically a slave dribbling a ball, right? Especially for all our Negro athletes. So that's brother Kyrie, man. Shouts out to him. Sad situation. But this should go to a lesson to all the Moors, Morenos, that you shouldn't depend on the beast for your living. Because I went through that. I depended on the beast for my living, but not anymore. Now I'm a businessman, entrepreneur. I do shows like this. The Afarut of the United Wabi Nation of Moors, because I know that we need culture. If now Kyrie Irving had a culture, because we all grew up without one. My parents used to tell us, we're Ani and we are Cherokee, but we never lived like that. You know what I'm saying? We took on the black label, the slave identity, because black means slave. Negro, black means slave. Colored, slave. Means you're not equal with the rest of America, right? The first class citizen. So let's go over to an article, or at least this article is in the PDF form. It's called The Anti-Hate Group That Is a Hate Group by Carl Zenmeiser. Shutting down people you don't agree with is about as un-American as you can get. Rigorous debate, honest discussion, open exchange of ideas, that's the American way. But free thinking and speech are threatened today by a group with a sweet-sounding name that conceals a nefarious purpose. This group is called the Southern Poverty Law Center, or SPLC. Originally founded as a civil rights law firm in 1971, the SPLC reinvented itself in the mid-'80s as a political attack group. Every year now it produces a new list of people and charities it claims are extremists and haters. Aided by glowing coverage from the establishment media, the SPLC's hate list has become a weapon for taking individuals and groups they disagree with and tarring them with ugly associations. The SPLC employs a two-pronged strategy. First, find a handful of crazies with barely any followers, no address, and no staff, blow them up into dangerous movement, proof that there are neo-Nazis lurking everywhere. On their notorious hate map, the SPLC lists 917 separate hate groups in the U.S. No one has even heard of more than a handful of them. The second strategy of the SPLC is to undermine legitimate political voices that they oppose by associating them with extremists like the KKK. Take the charity known as the Alliance Defending Freedom. The SPLC lists them as a hate group. Is that fair? Well, the ADF has a network of 3,000 attorneys from all across the U.S. who've donated more than 1 million volunteer hours in defense of religious liberty. They've had a role in 49 victories at the U.S. Supreme Court, putting the Alliance Defending Freedom on a list with 130 Ku Klux Klan chapters is not only wrong, it's malicious. According to the SPLC, one of the most influential social scientists in the United States, Charles Murray, is a, quote, white nationalist. Ayaan Hirsi Ali, perhaps the most eloquent spokesperson for rights of Muslim women, is, to the SPLC, a toxic anti-Muslim extremist. Scores of other individuals and charities active in mainstream conservative or religious causes have likewise been branded by the Southern Poverty Law Center as threats to society. Now, that doesn't make any sense. That Ayaan Hirsi Ali is an anti-Muslim extremist even though she pushes for rights of Muslim women in Minnesota. Now that's extremely that's satanic. Mind you, it is entirely fair to disagree with any of those folks, but it is utterly unfair to call them haters or extremists. The largest category listed by the SPLC as extremists, with 623 entries, covers groups like the Tea Party, organizations that are wary of centralized government. Last time we checked, favoring smaller government was a mainstream and perfectly honorable American tradition. What is not honorable is the course prescribed by the leader of the SPLC, Mark Potok, who was caught on video proclaiming the organization's true intentions. He told a group of supporters, quote, "The press will describe us as monitoring hate groups. I want to say plainly that our aim in life is to destroy these groups, to completely destroy them." Right? So you got this SPLC, which is a Jewish-ran organization, right? Using hate to call someone else a hate group. Makes no sense. Like I said, the devil uses deception um, to, or actually uses deception and uses evil to make it seem fair seeming, right? So this is some tactics that they've been using for a while. If you've been listening to Stephen Coakley outlines the basically the protocols of Zion, in which these people may or may not be Zionists, but they're actually hateful people trying to call out other. It's like the kettle calling the pot black. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. But this is the type of world that they live in. This is the type of world that the Democrats live in. The left. This is all left wing stuff. So portraying someone with political views different from your own as a public menace is bullying, and it's a dangerous game. Instead of reducing hate and violence, the SPLC's name calling directly incites it. In March 2017, Charles Murray was trying to discuss his proclaimed book coming apart at Middlebury College when he was violently attacked by protesters, inflamed by the SPLC's labeling him as a racist. A professor escorting Murray ended up in the hospital. Wow. Okay, so SPLC likes to incite violence. In 2012, a gunman attempted mass murder at the Family Research Council, and failed only because the first man he shot managed to disarm him. The attacker told the police he acted because the SPLC had listed the Family Research Council as a hate group. Wow. So that's just two incidents that the SPLC has caused violence. It's a vicious irony. While promoting itself as a monitor of hate groups, the SPLC has, in practice, become a fomenter of hate. Not just a well, yeah, it's a fomenter of hate, but actually the group is a hate group in itself. Whether they hate you because you're Christian, you don't like gay people, it's your right to not like gay people. Or transgender, it's your right to not like these people. They want to force you, just like they're forcing Kyrie Irving to apologize. But we all know that Kyrie Irving's apology is forced. It's not right. Well, if I don't know. I don't know, because, Kyrie Irving, he had to bend over and take it, right? He had to. If he wanted to keep his job as an employee slave, he had to bend over and take it. So, and the ADL doesn't even believe his apology is genuine. So he might have to cry. He might have to cry and beg. That's probably next on the agenda, to tell you the truth. Now hold on, let me get some of this tea that my wife cooked for me. Oh yeah, I can taste the honey in that tea mixed with limon. I love my wife. Okay. So yet the group rolls on bigger than ever. What keeps them going? For one thing, the establishment media constantly quotes them as if they're a legitimate source of information, right? I'm throwing that in there as their legitimate source of information, because they're not. they're not. You know what I mean? They just kind of make it up as they go. If they simply just don't like your stance, your political stance, you're going on that hate group or an extremist group. You know what I mean? So you're going on there if they don't like what you're saying, right? Which is, to me, is devilish and satanic. And they sit in their little SPLC table and they think of new ways to hate on people, right? So anyway, let's keep going. For one thing, the establishment media constantly quotes them. Scare stories about right-wing stormtroopers are a sure way to attract eyeballs and fit nicely with the media's own preconceptions of dangerous reactionaries lurking out there in middle America. Second, alarmism is a great fundraising technique. Convincing people that are fascists everywhere has turned the SPLC into a cash machine. Last year, the group hustled $50 million out of frightened liberal donors, adding to the $368 million of assets they were already sitting on. So the next time you see the Southern Poverty Law Center quoted in the news, just remember, the masterminds behind the SPLC aren't eliminating hate, they are fueling it. I'm Carl Zenmeister for Prager University, right? So here's a opposite view of what the SPLC is saying. And me as a Nawabian, I take offense when they put our nation on there as some kind of black hate group. We're not even black. So they're just disrespectful bastards to me. They don't know up from down, hate from love. This is a kind of like a runaway amok organization. Left-wing people have turned into some type of hate mongering if they don't get their way. Like with Donald Trump, you're seeing a lot of, I've seen people crying that he won. Like crying like little babies, like grown women. Grown women were crying like babies because he won. Because they hated that he won. I'm all, that's hatred. You're talking about the Ku Klux Klan hating. Now, these are all Caucasian problems I'm talking about here. Moors aren't involved in this. And they're crying. And then the Moors who want to get involved in Caucasian problems, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer. Stay out of their stuff, man. Stay out of their stuff. Like Tiffany Mallory. She's a joke. She's a joke. But anyway, there's another, you know what? There's actually one other article that I wanted to find here. There's another one where the article we just read by Carl Zenmeister, it was at the, hold on, let's see. I think this is the one we want to read here. I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. This is it. So this is on usatoday.com. It's called The Southern Poverty Law Center is a hate-based scam that nearly caused me to be murdered. Wow. So the SPLC is participating in murder, whether directly or indirectly. Now, how is that going to solve problems? I guess the way they want to solve problems is, like the guy said, we want to destroy these organizations. Right? They want to destroy these organizations. Right? And then the SPLC wants to say they're fascist. Define the word fascist. Because to me, fascist means corporations working with big government to control. So the SPLC is a corporation. They are working with big news media, and they're working with the FBI too, where the FBI said that they're no longer credible information. They're no longer a credible source of information, which is good because that's true, because they're a political, hate-based Jewish organization. I mean, that's pretty much how I see it, Jews hating others for whatever reason. So this is written by Jessica Smith, an opinion contributor. I'll never forget the moment I learned we were on lockdown. It was August 15th, 2012. My frustration mingled with fear. Trapped on the 6th floor, we knew someone had been shot. We knew we couldn't leave yet. We knew little else. While I was missing lunch, a crime scene played out in the office lobby below me. My coworker and friend Leo wasn't armed, but he played the quick-thinking and inadvertent hero, disarming a young man on a mission to kill me and as many of my colleagues as possible. The gunman had packed his backpack with ammo and 15 Chick-fil-A sandwiches, later admitting that he planned to smear them on our lifeless faces as a political statement. Leo took a bullet in the arm, but managed to hold the attacker until law enforcement arrived. I wrote and edited for the Family Research Council. Remember from the other article where Carl Zenmeiser mentioned the Family Research Council, a public advocacy organization that promoted the principles I've cared about since childhood. Protecting the family, promoting the dignity of every human life, and advocating for religious liberty. It reads like a tagline, but it's also just what I believe and the way I chose to match my career with my convictions. I never expected that everyone would celebrate or share my beliefs, but I did expect to be able to discuss and debate these differences without becoming a political target in an act of terrorism. The first conviction under Washington, D.C.'s 2002 Anti-Terrorism Act. So these people are directly linked with the first case under the act of terrorism, right? So the SPLC is causing this to happen. You know what I mean? They're causing this to happen. The first conviction, Jessica says, under Washington, D.C.'s 2002 Anti-Terrorism Act. All right, so this SPLC is a very dangerous group, it sounds like. Very dangerous. They use deception and satanic tactics to hate against other organizations. Ah, man, this is getting good. The Southern Poverty Law Center labeled us a hate group. It was the type of violent incident that one could expect a group that purportedly monitors hate, like the Southern Poverty Law Center, to notice, research, and decry. In fact, we were on the center's radar, but for all the wrong reasons. The assailant acknowledged later in FBI testimony that he had selected our office precisely because the SPLC had labeled my employer a hate group. Wow. Okay, let's keep going. It has always been easier to smear people rather than wrestle with their ideas. It's a bully who calls names and spreads lies rather than thoroughly reading a brief legal argument or challenging the rationale underlying a policy proposal. The SPLC has chosen to take the easy path, to intimidate and mislead for raw political power and financial benefit. For years, former employees revealed, local journalists reported, and commenters have lamented. The Southern Poverty Law Center is not what it claims to be, not a pure-hearted, clear-headed legal advocate for the vulnerable, but rather an obscenely wealthy marketing scheme. For years, the left-wing interest group has used its hate group list to promote the fiction that violent neo-Nazis and Christian nonprofits peacefully promoting orthodox beliefs about marriage and sex are indistinguishable. Perhaps it has apologized to public figures. Sometimes it has apologized to public figures it has smeared. And it recently paid out millions to settle a threatened defamation lawsuit. The SPLC has its own troubles. These shameful secrets are no longer hidden in the shadows. The New York Times, Political, NPR, and a host of other mainstream publications are reporting on the corruption and widening credibility gap. The SPLC dismissed its co-founder in March, and its president has resigned amidst numerous claims of sexual harassment, gender discrimination, and racism within the organization. A parade of disgraces that vividly force the conclusion. The SPLC is hollow, rotten, and failing at the very virtues it pretends to celebrate. That's good. That's good that we know this now. You know what I'm saying? No organization is perfect. You know what I mean? So we don't expect the SPLC to be perfect. But how could you discriminate against people who really don't want to deal with transgender and gayness, right? And discrimination against women, and then you're discriminating against women in your own organization and racism. This is this is a satanic group. Yeah, this is a satanic group that people should not take seriously at all. This should just be a passing thought. Okay, let's continue. The criticism comes from many corners. There's the current affairs editor who seems sympathetic to the center's progressive mission, but decries it, a hate group, lists as an outright fraud and a willful deception designed to scare older liberals into writing checks to the SPLC. There's the retired investigative journalist who helped research and write an 8-part series on the center's litany of problems and questionable practices in the mid-1990s. His Washington Post opinion piece reads, with a thinly veiled message, "We nearly got a Pulitzer Prize for telling you so." But perhaps most damning of all are the incidents leveled by former employee Bob Moser in the New Yorker. He remembers being welcomed to the Poverty Palace and recounts the heart-sinking reality of it all, being pawns in a highly profitable scam. Jobs and years have passed, and I work now for the Alliance Defending Freedom, ADF, ranks among the top-performing firms litigating First Amendment issues, according to the empirical SCOTUS blog, and is the Christian legal powerhouse that keeps winning at the Supreme Court, according to the Washington Post. And yes, my new employer has also attracted one of the SPLC's spurious hate labels. The label easily peels and fades away when one actually does the research and listens to truth before deciding to troll. This, it's cool it's even cool to disagree with the ADF if you're the SPLC, right? But how are you a hate group that constantly wins in the Supreme Court for Christian conservative values? Now, unless those Christian conservative values include hatred and racism, then I would say, okay, SPLC has a point. I actually agree with them, because Christianity was used as a vehicle of hate. It was used to subdue the Niji here on Turtle Island, my people. Well, at least the melanated version. I don't know about the Asians and the Caucasians, but you know what I mean? That's okay if they don't agree with it. And if I agreed with them based on what I just said, if the Christian group was using Christianity as a hate vehicle, I'm like, oh, sure. Yeah, nail them. Yeah, put them on that hate group. But I don't know much about the ADF, but I know they hate the United Nawabi Nation of Moors, and we ain't done nothing to the Southern Poverty Law Center. They're angry because we're talking about Caucasians and what they did to us. Well, if that makes us a hate group, I guess, we're not a terrorist group, but if you want to call that hate, yeah, we hate what happened to us. Sure, throw us on that list, man. We hate what happened to us by the Caucasoid, by them, by people who look like them. So I guess we hate the SPLC too. You know what I mean? We hate them too. We don't like them. You know what I mean? So if that's their stance, that's our stance. So I won't be intimidated by the SPLC. If the SPLC thought its hate would intimidate or silence me and my colleagues, they're sadly mistaken. I'm lucky, blessed, really, that I didn't take a bullet for my beliefs back in 2012. But the center's ugly slander and the gunman's misguided attack have sharpened my resolve and deepened my faith in my Savior, who commands my destiny and shields me from the schemes of man. The same is true for my colleagues. 51 years ago, Dr. Martin Luther King fell to an assassin's bullet. The SPLC pretends to carry his legacy, but weaponizes hate labels instead. Unlike SPLC's name-calling, Dr. King's words and visions stand the test of time. Injustice anywhere, he warned, is a threat to justice everywhere. Now, I have a problem with her saying that. I have a problem with her saying that because she's not a Moor. She's not a Moor. So she needs to keep Dr. Martin Luther King really out of her mouth. Yeah, because Dr. King died for black people. Well, at least I hope he died for so-called black people, Moors. You know what I mean? Hopefully she did. I mean, she did. I'm mixing up. Anyway, hopefully he did. You know, because Martin Luther King had changed his mind, you know, when he found out, you know, we're integrating into a burning house. So because all they focus on is I have the dream speech. But they didn't focus on when Martin Luther King was talking about Caucasians, how they were European immigrants and how they came here and got the economic floor, right? Because they just gave them land that they stole from the Niji. Just gave them land, gave these European peasants land, and told the Negro to pull himself up by his bootstrap, right? See, this is why I don't really get involved. See, this is Caucasians versus Caucasians. Christian Caucasians versus Jewish Caucasians, right? And then they will always want to pull black people into their problems so they can gain basically the Luciferians and vampires because they're sucking the political power of black people's pain. They politicize your black pain into their problems, right? So how many right-wing Christian organizations have a lot of Moors in their congregation? I have not seen one. I'm 42 years old. I haven't seen one. I have not seen one. So why is this woman trying to use Dr. Martin Luther King in her... that tea is good. Very, very good. Why do you guys think they're trying to use Dr. Martin Luther King? I have an idea. Like I just said, it's all for political gain. Now, she would have been fine with me if she didn't mention one of our brothers in arms, right? Who spoke against the Vietnam War, who spoke against Caucasoid U.S. government, right? Because all the Caucasoid U.S. government wants to put out is, oh, I have a dream. They love putting that out. They love that. They love that. They love that. But Martin Luther King said a lot more than just that. He said a lot more than just that. And would she say the same thing if she knew that Martin Luther King was damn near communist? I mean, he was a communist. I mean, he was a socialist communist. I mean, that's what Dr. Martin Luther King was. I mean, he was a communist. It's documented. So would she still say that? You know, people pick and choose what they want to write about. And so that's why you gotta pick out some of the words that some of these journalists use. It's called tone. In language, when you use certain words, it's called your tone. You know, so you can tell her tone against the SPLC is one of like shock, because she was almost murdered by some crazy guy in there who didn't double check the SPLC information, acted compulsory, and just shot one guy in the arm. You know what I mean? So everybody's got a choice to make. He made the wrong one. Now, we're going to end the show there, but at the end of the day, Moors should not be involved with these Caucasian issues. Oh, we're all American in a multiracial society. But why does the Negro lose every time that happens? because foreigners are coming over here wanting to take your businesses and your land so they can survive. They don't care about that. Yeah, multiculturalism, and you got Pakistanis setting up shops, Hindus setting up shops, other people setting up shops, and then where are the black shops? Where did they go? Where are all the black businesses? Chinese and I'm like, what happened to our business? So multiculturalism is just a code word for taking black businesses. You know what I mean? It's really a code word, right? So these things are really code words for taking black businesses. So multiculturalism is not good for the so-called Negro, right? I can tell you right now, coming from Southern California in LA County, even Riverside, you got these Koreans that have moved in the 90s with U.S. government grants, and moved in and started shouting racial slurs at blacks, even shooting black people in their stores, all under the topic and the theme of multiculturalism. Brother Tupac, rest in peace, talked about these issues. I think her name was Natasha Harlan, L.A. She got shot by a Korean store owner. And then if you've seen Menace to Society, the first scene of the movie, where Kane and O-Dog, walk into a store in their neighborhood, predominantly a Moorish neighborhood, and they're getting discriminated. I mean, these Koreans bought this shop in their neighborhood, and then look at them as if they're the problem. But they're the customer, though, and you chose to buy a shop in that black or Moorish neighborhood. But then, oh, hurry up and buy. I feel sorry for your mother. Disrespectful stuff like that. And that depicted what's really going on in the hood, in the inner city. So multiculturalism sucks. I don't support multiculturalism. You do for your people, we gonna do for our people. It don't mean we gotta hate each other. It does not mean we have to hate each other. And Moors need to learn how to love themselves. Stop the self-hate. You need to learn to love yourself. Before you can love any other culture or race, you got to learn to love yourself. How are you going to talk about multiculturalism and you don't even love yourself? How are you going to love another race and you don't even know what love is? You got so much self-hate in you, you don't even know what love is. So anyway, I know I'm ranting, but it's my show. I'm going to rant. All right, so let's end the show there. Peace and love. Hatu, Hade, Nahub. Everybody listening to the show, please subscribe and like and share this information. We'll be coming out with shows for years to come. Mark my words, years to come. From a Nuwaubian point of view, not a Negro point of view. Because we've evoluted now to this day. We've evoluted these days from Negro to Nuwaubian more. So peace to everybody in the struggle. Peace to the new Black Panther Party. Peace to the Nation of Islam. Even peace to the Sabians. Peace to anybody cultivating a culture, if that makes sense. They want to call you a cult if you claim your identity. Not as a Hebrew Israelite like Ronald Dalton. I mean, it's cool for him to put out the book, but I hear him talking bad about Egyptians, which really rubs me the wrong way. Or Tom Moran. He's really rubbing me the wrong way, the way he's talking about Tom Moran's, because didn't his Messiah go to Egypt to get educated by the high priest of Egypt, or Tamaray? So why are you talking bad about Egyptians, bro? And they're Morenos, just like the Hebrew Israelites were. And we had treaties with each other. The Tamaray with Yisrael. So, but he's a Christian anyway. Anyway, I'm not gonna. That's another rant. But anyway, anybody speaking truth, and I don't. And hold on, I'm gonna say one more thing about that dude, man, because I really don't like him talking about Tamarins like that. See, I can prove by blood I'm from the same haplogroup as the Afarut Ursa Ma'arasa Tepmira Butala, right? That's Ramesses the Third, which the Caucasian would call it. So, where is your genetic proof that you're an Israelite? You know what I mean? I'm not hating on the work that you did, but what you're talking about from a Negro point of view that wants to be part of some fantasy book. You know what I mean? When it ain't even really about that. Yes, our race of people were Hebrew Israelites. I have more than enough proof to prove that. You know, there's more than enough proof to prove that they were Moors, or which we would call Moors. We wouldn't call them blacks or Negroes because that's a disrespectful slave term. We wouldn't call any one of our nations or tribes black because that's just it's a disrespectful term. You know what I mean? It's a different disrespectful term. We would never use that. However, with Ronald Dalton, he would have to prove he's an Israelite. You can't just read a book and say, "Oh, we're a black," because they didn't call themselves black, right? What they're translating black from Aramic or Hebrew does not translate to black. So, but all Ronald Dalton knows is English. He doesn't know any other languages. At least he hasn't exhibited he knows any other languages. So I'm going to leave it at that. Peace and love. Hatu, Hadeh, and I hope. Till next time.